Hey everyone, Miss Dempsey here. This is Lap Guy for round 13 of the GR Supra GT Cup, and since this takes place on Nurburgring 24h, I'm going to go through the commentary part a bit faster than I normally do it, just because it'll take a lot of time, and I want you to start practicing if you haven't yet. But anyways, let's get this started. Start to brake right when the path on the left starts. This will give you just enough space to be able to hit the apex. And try to hit the apex here because there's a little dip that'll help you get through this turn a little better. So brake right here, then slowly start to ease off on the brake, hit this apex, full throttle, then brake, and get really close to the apex and slowly start to accelerate your way out. Brake when the path on the right ends, which is right over here. Brake hard for a moment, then ease off on the braking, then slowly start to accelerate. Brake when the curb on the left ends, and once again, be very gentle with the throttle and the braking here. And for this next hairpin that's coming up, you want to be very gentle. So you'll start to brake before the curb on the left starts, which is right over here, and shift down to fourth as you're braking. And once you're a little into the turn, you can then shift it to third. Once again, be very gentle with the braking. And when you start to accelerate, be very gentle as well. You're trying to make sure that the car slides as little as possible. When you're doing this chicane, ease off on the throttle a little bit when you hit the left curb. And you can get back on full throttle when the wheels are all on the tarmac again. Then start to brake when the tarmac on the right starts. And once again, try to be very gentle, take advantage of the apex, and you'll brake a bit more right here, not at full power, and gently start to accelerate your way through. You'll start to brake in between the 100 and the 50 meter mark. Bring yourself to 5th gear, so don't go down into 4th gear. 5th gear should be good enough, and ease off on the braking once you're starting to make the turn through this chicane right here. Try not to get all four wheels on the curb to reduce the risk of getting a penalty. Try to get your car to the middle and start to brake well before the turn, of course, and try to bring yourself to the late apex. And then for this turn right here, start to brake right after you pass the pit wall that is on the right. Bring yourself a bit to the right to give yourself a bit more space to navigate through this turn. And once again, be very gentle with the throttle as you're starting to go downhill here. For this high speed turn, just ease off on the throttle and maximize the space that you're offered here with the track width. And for this next turn, brake nice and early. You have 2 turns back to back, so you want to brake nice and early and make sure you don't touch the grass like how I do here because I almost lost control of the car. I'm going to repeat this a lot, but be very gentle with the throttle of the car. You're trying to make sure that the car slides as little as possible. So brake a bit here and then brake a bit more over here and bring yourself to the left and brake before the tarmac turns into a dark color. Here you can be a bit more aggressive to try to get a bit faster of a speed as you're going through a high-speed section over here. When you hit the dip just past the hill, you'll brake hard for a moment and just ease off on the braking and be very gentle with the throttle. Your car is going to slide here, so by using a little bit of throttle, this will encourage the car to try to regain its grip. Your next braking point is going to be when you are in between the 2 signs that is on the right side of the track. Brake hard for a moment and start to ease off on the braking and transition over to using a little bit of throttle. This should make the car slide as little as possible, and then bring your car to the left side of the track before you need to start to brake, which will be before the curb on the left ends. Once again, brake hard and then guide your car to hit the apex and slowly start to accelerate your way through. Once again, you're going downhill, so be a little careful when you're applying the throttle. Go at full throttle through here, so go flat out. And this next turn, is where it gets a little tricky. You'll start to brake right after the curb on the right starts, and then try to take advantage of this curb right here, brake a bit more, and just guide your car through this, and you'll be slowing down over time. And then for here, you can shift into fourth gear and be a tiny bit more aggressive with the throttle. Look for a blue and white billboard that is on the right, and you'll start to brake when you are in between them. So right here, start to brake, then bring yourself in, and then start to brake after you pass the writing on the tarmac. And once again, this turn goes in a bit more, so just guide the car in. Then start to brake when you're passing the sign that was on the left. Bring the car in once more, and I'm going to repeat this for a while. And then for here, you want to ease off on the throttle. Be very careful here as it's easy to lose control. Start to brake before the curb on the right starts. You'll be using some braking and just guide your car into the inside. And when you're approaching the second curb, slowly start to use a little bit of throttle. Be very gentle once again because this part is really easy to lose control of the car. You'll want to brake nice and early for this turn. It's very easy to lose control of the car since the weight distribution will be going all over the place. So start to brake right here, and when you go through this first turn, ease off a little bit on the braking, then go off full braking power once again. This is a bit of a hairpin turn, so once you start to make the actual turn itself, slowly ease off on the braking and slowly start to accelerate. Brake before the curb on the right ends and slowly bring your car in. Slowly start to accelerate as it's really easy to go wide here. Then brake before the curb on the left ends, and you can be a little bit more aggressive with the throttle over here. Now here comes another difficult turn. First, go through here at full throttle, and for this turn, you want to look for a little blue mark on the tarmac. That is your braking point. If you can't find it, start to brake well before you reach the Yokohama sign that is on the right. So start to brake right around there where I mentioned the braking points, and then ease off on the braking over time. When your car is starting to point towards the curbs on the other side, you can slowly start to accelerate. When you start to pass the gray curb that is on the right, that is when you'll start to brake. You'll brake heavily for a brief moment of time, and then you can try to hit the apex. Your car will slide a little bit, but you shouldn't worry too much, and you can go at full throttle almost immediately after you hit the apex. This next turn can be taken at full throttle, so no worries about that, but then start to brake before the curb on the left starts. Shift down to fourth gear to reduce the chance of your car oversteering when you start to accelerate. Because of that, you can be a bit more aggressive with the throttle. Then look for the happy little tree that is on the left right here, and that is your braking point. For the carousel, try to bring yourself as close into the carousel as you can and use a little bit of throttle. When you know you're about to hit the next section of the track, you can then go out full throttle. Alright, here's where the fun really starts. Take this first turn at full throttle, then start to brake when the curb on the right starts. Ease off on the braking, and your car will slide a little bit, but you should still be fine. Then brake right around here, and your car will really want to slide. Keep in control of the car. Then go here at full throttle, and you'll ease off on the throttle when you go through this turn right here. Then apply a little bit of braking. You can use a little more braking right here, and yeah, just be careful because it's easy to go off track here. Brake when the curb on the left ends, and then bring yourself to the right side of the track. Brake well before you pass the Yokohama sign that was on the right, and then bring your car in. Brake before the curb on the left ends, Then ease your way in through here. Brake once again before the curb on the left ends, and be a bit more careful with the throttle as it's a little easy to go off track. For this turn, brake well before the curb on the left starts, and this turn goes a little more in, so you want to be a bit more careful when you start to fully accelerate. Then go down this hill, and you want to start to brake right before your car makes a jump. This should give you just enough space to be able to make this next turn and take advantage of the width of the track. Due to the physics update that came in after the Nurburgring 24h race and before the Rebel Ring race, you can now take this section right here at full throttle. Brake well before you reach the digital flag that is on the right. You can also brake a little bit before you pass the end of the barrier that is on the right, or before you even pass the little guide that is on the right. Brake hard right here, then just slowly ease off on the braking. Brake before the curb on the right ends, bring yourself in, and you can be a tiny bit more aggressive with the throttle. Then brake right here and try to get yourself into the mini carousel, because if you don't, you'll end up messing up like how I did here. Then for this next turn right here, brake a bit before the curb on the left ends, use a little bit of throttle, and then ease off on the throttle right around here as you start to make the turn. Once you're halfway through the turn, go out full throttle because you want to get as much speed as you can through here. Alright, let's talk pit stop strategy. So you'll definitely want to pit here at least once for fuel and for tires. It's a lot more viable than doing a no stop since this recent update affected the pit stop entry time. Also, you want to try to save up a lot of fuel while maintaining a good pace, so that way you spend less time in the pit stop. And once again, change tires as well. Now this part is very important. When you're almost done with the curb that is on the left, you want to start to brake. You'll be braking in short bursts, so that way you can maintain some good speed as you go through here, but at the same time you can safely slow down. So then brake once again, and then brake once more, bring yourself in and slowly start to accelerate your way through, and you are good to go. Practice on getting a good time on the time trial mode, and then get the settings that's listed on the race itself and bring it over to lobby so you can start to practice what it'd be like doing an actual race. And that is pretty much it for the GR Supra GT Cup, as this is the last round. I want to thank you all for the support, whether that's just watching the video, commenting, liking, subscribing. Even if you just watched one GR Supra GT Cup video, I greatly appreciate that. This is Mr. MCA, the world's most okay player, and I'll see you in the next video.